Hey, welcome. Enjoying your blended family on a Monday episode, which today we're talking about creating, not just creating, but how to create that good blended family environment. Not a bad one, not a terrible one.
I think the bad ones just create themselves.
They do. And so how do we get a good one? Because we don't want bad. We don't want nasty. We don't want ugly. We want good. We need good.
Give me great, but I'll settle
there
for good.
You go. So we're going to start with good. That will take it to great. I love that one. This is good to great. Good to great blended family environment. Really good stuff coming. It is just, man, I can't wait. I can't wait to dive into this because it really is. It's so good. You stay tuned. We'll be right back in just a minute.
All right. So here we are fixing to talk about, you like that country twang? Fixing.
We're fixing to talk about, y'all.
To talk about how to make a good.
We want a good blended family environment, y'all. Ding.
But on a serious note, you do have to be very intentional with this because like we were saying earlier in the intro, bad happens naturally.
It does.
I think in life in general, but in our families, bad things happen all around us.
That's a saying, right? Bad things happen to good people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I mean, we're good
people.
It's
a saying for a reason, okay?
We know you are good people, and bad things are going to happen. They're going to take place. I know for us, we found ourselves in season, no matter how hard we tried to create this family, this vision of perfection that we had in our mind, right?
Yeah, we air quotes.
Yes.
Perfection family.
It was impossible, but it was this just life in the blended family realm. The things that come at us, the things that are happening can really just pull you down. And especially during that season when we were with the kids in their teenage years and they were just starting to really push that boundary because they wanted to go live with their other parents. And in that time frame, just mentally trying to wrap our head around the fact that our oldest wanted to move to her mom's. And then that taking place.
And not just happening, but devastated our relationship. Like we didn't have one. Our relationships were terrible. And that's kind of the worst thing as a parent. Yeah. It's like, some of these bad things can happen, but when it's your relationship that's really torn, that is devastating. And we never want that. But yeah, that's where we were at.
Yeah, we're in that season where we're like, okay, now we're sitting in this, and then to watch our younger two kids really feel the effects of that first because we had this cloud over our household because we didn't really know how to function after that. We were trying to figure it out. And then they both wanted to go live with their other parents. And so then the battle started of me really trying to hold on and keep them in our house and what that looked like. And then at the same time, Randall still in that broken relationship with his daughter and us trying to figure out what in the world do we want to do? How can we fix this? And we felt so hopeless.
Yeah, we were kind of at the beginning, we weren't thinking about any of it. We weren't thinking how to navigate through this stuff. It just, things started happening and it started going south really quick. And what we really found out is, if we're not intentional on things, that's what's going to happen. Bad things can start happening to your family. And it's like, oh man, we don't want this. So we were really stuck into this. Like, how do we get out of it? How can we turn the table? This isn't what we want our lives to look like. This isn't what we want our family to look like. Our environment, our house, our culture, and our home had become so devastating. What do you do? I mean, when it's at its worst, how do you flip it around and make it its best? So that was our mission. We set out and we're like, all right, when we firmly believe in God, we firmly believe in our faith, and we started leaning on Him really heavy and being like, God, I don't know, what do we do? But really what we started learning is that what you focus on is what you see more of. So we can look at our family home one of two ways. We can focus on the problem, and you're going to see more problems.
And I feel like that's what comes naturally.
It is. Right? It's such a natural thing to do. And that's why this topic is so big. As blended families, We do. We want to focus and fix problems. And before you know it, we just become firefighters to where we're running from one fire to the next fire. And it's just devastating. It's heartbreaking. It wears you out. It wears you thin because you're not seeing hope. You're not seeing goodness. And I love Tony Robbins' quote, kind of what he says, but he says, where focus goes, energy flows. It's one of a famous quote that he has, so powerful when you really think about that. When you think about what that means, where you focus on is where you're going to go. That's where all your energy goes. If I'm focusing on all the problems, all the issues going on in my family, and that's all I'm focusing on, that's what I'm allowing my mind, my heart, my soul to focus solely on that, that's all I'm seeing. That's going to be my world. That's going to be our home. Or we can do it another way.
Or we can flip it.
Flip the script. Let's flip the script. Let's flip it around. Or
for some reason, saying that made me want to throw in some cuss words.
Oh, yeah. Well, you could insert, whatever you want there, and there you go. It's more,
I don't know why.
If that's your thing, go for it. That would be a perfect opportunity to flip the script, or maybe, I think I've heard that terminology many different ways. But yeah, you could do that. Huh?
Is that why? It's because it's said in a different way with the bad word there? Because it made that's what my brain wanted to do.
Yeah, well, it's what it is because I had my brother tell me this one time, and I was like, "What?" And I died laughing. I'm like, "Oh my goodness!" But when you do a U-turn, that you can call it flip a B. Flip a,
Oh.
That word.
I think if you really start thinking, that's a sexual joke.
Well, maybe so. I don't even. Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. So that's probably where that comes from. That's probably where your mind went on that one. So listen, guys, if you don't know us, we talk about God, we talk about marriage, we talk about sex, we talk about all that stuff here. We just like getting real honest and just relate because this is life, y'all. We're doing life together, and life is all about this. So we get to have fun with that. But yeah, no, whenever he told me that, I died laughing. I'm like, I've never heard that before in my life. Thank you for, bringing that.
So he wanted you to take a U-turn, but instead of saying,
I was trying,
brother, will you take a U-turn? He goes, said,
flip a. Oh. And I was like, okay.
Why
is that a saying? I don't even get it. Okay, but there it is, that.
So
add that to
your blended family. Don't actually do.
Yeah, don't do that. But you can. Okay, so you can either focus on. You can either focus on the problem, or you can flip that and you can focus on having more fun and enjoyment. And that's challenging, but it can be done. It is possible.
Which is so crazy that having more fun is challenging. Focusing on problems is what comes normal and natural for us. And we sit in, and I say we, me, I know, and so many others, the struggle. We sit in that, and that's what's normal and natural. And it's the fun part that we have to try and do and put into practice. Why in the world?
It is. It's like it goes against the grain. It's like, I don't understand that. But stay with us because we're going to really unpack. We got 3 ways that you can do this. We got some pro tips because I'm telling you it works. We're life examples of this, and we see it happening in other blended families. It's so powerful. That's why this message is so strong. But the thing is we can, and this isn't my thought. I didn't create this. We really, whenever we were at our worst in our family and we were trying to change things, that's whenever we really went to God, and it's like, God, we need help. What do we do? But there was this scripture, Philippians 4:8, and I'm going to read that just real quick out of the Message paraphrase because I'm telling you, whenever you hear it.
He got so excited.
Oh, I did. I'm like, oh, man, because I'm a translation hopper. I love going to different translations and just seeing how that connects. But I read this one out of the Message, but it says this. It says, summing it all up, friends, I'd say you'll do best by filling your minds and meditating on things true, noble, reputable, authentic, compelling, gracious, the best, not the worst, the beautiful, not the ugly, things to praise, not things to curse. I was like, what? That is amazing. And what that is that's a mind shift, right? That's us sitting there and saying, okay, all I'm seeing is negative. Where's the good? What's good in this? What's good in our family right now? What are things that we can control? What are things that we can enjoy right now? And it's taking you out of your crying pool, picking yourself up and saying, okay, what's good? And sometimes it takes a little bit to come up with, I don't even know right now. I ain't feeling good. I ain't even feeling it, but it's shifting your mind and saying, no, I'm going to look for it. Because remember, we went back to that quote that where your focus goes, energy flows. So when you start focusing on what's good, you start seeing more of what's good. And it's totally opposite of where you're at. But that's kind of the mindset of it, right? It's like we can get into this funk, especially in a blended family, easy. But being able to shift from that, it's like, okay, well, let me think, what is good? What's going on good with my family? Where can I start? And just starting small. But that's just creating that different environment in your home. It takes that shift. It takes you sitting there demanding it, saying, I'm not going to live life this way anymore. I want something different. I want to start having good. I want my house to be a home to where my kids feel safe. They feel loved. They feel fun. It's like this just such a warm environment. And man, I'm telling you, it's powerful whenever you start doing that.
Well, and I think that's what we want when we're creating our family and we're going into this marriage and we're bringing these kids into it. It's like, duh, that's what we want, but we don't know how. And we get just so bogged down with all the other stuff. And so that's the good news, is because we're going to give you some how-to here in just a minute.
Well, that's the crazy part, because we don't know how. But the thing is as we said at the beginning, we can either just let life happen to us, or we can go out there and make life happen. That's powerful right there. In blended families, we do. It's like I said, we can feel like firefighters, but sometimes we got to put down the suit. Does that mean that we're not ever going to have problems whenever we do this? No. You're going to have problems. But the more you start focusing on fun, the more fun and enjoyment, the more fun and enjoyment you're going to see. You're going to start seeing more of that, to where the suit is just kind of hanging there. You're going to, whenever you do this, you start understanding ways to handle the problems better, because now your mindset isn't in firefighter mode. Now it's in, you know what? Let me look for the good in this. And that's powerful.
And while you were talking, I just got that visual and that reminder, because fire hurts. It does. And it's painful. And sometimes it's scary, especially to say, what, I'm going to put that down and stop? What, am I going to let the whole house burn up? But just that reminder, just a couple different things. But one is the Bible story where they're in the fire, right? Yeah. And Jesus is present right there with them. But then even a little bit deeper than that, when you think of like how diamonds are formed, or things that are precious in that have to go under the pressure and under the heat for something beautiful to come out. So usually when we think of fire, we think of things that are painful and destructive. It destroys everything. But when we have that connection with our Creator, when we're staying in prayer about that and we're allowing Him, it's not like you're just like, screw it all, I'm going to sit back and just let everything burn. It's not like you're just checking out of your family. What Randall is saying, you're becoming intentional on what do I want it to look like. And so you hang up that suit, but you let God be the one that's fighting the fires for you. Yeah. And then you ask Him for different things on helping. So I don't want to jump above what
No, that's so great and so true that, it really is. You've got to turn it over to Him and say, God, I need some help. I need some ideas. How do I know your word says, man, I got to start thinking on good things. How do I do that when all I'm seeing is bad? So a lot of times whenever we start going to Him, He starts showing you those little things. And it's not that, man, I wish God would come down and just show a picture book of, well, look, check this out, son.
Or fill out your calendar for you.
But it's these things that, will start coming to mind, will start coming to memory, start coming to your heart. It's crazy whenever we surrender that to Him and we're just, we're like, hey, we need help. It's amazing. He will help you. He'll start showing when you start looking. But we have to be intentional. We can sit there and we can just let life happen to us, or we can go make life happen. But we have to be intentional to make life happen. We have to be intentional to try to flip the script. We can't just allow it to happen. It will never happen. So it's one of those that
Wouldn't that be lovely though?
I wish I could put a quarter in a machine and just flip it.
No, picture like we're like in bed on a Saturday morning.
Ooh, we're going there. Okay.
No.
Okay. Oh, I'm
our
sorry.
kids come in.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
yeah.
they have made us breakfast on their own free will. And we're sitting there and just enjoying a nice, relaxing morning. Then they go around the house and they're cleaning everything.
Oh, man.
They're getting along. They're like, oh, we decided that we don't want to go run and do all these other things today. We just want to be here together as a family. Mom and dad or stepdad and stepmom. I just love you. I'm going to call you mom now. Like all these things and everything you ever wanted in life. Wouldn't it be nice if it just happened?
I feel like I'm in Happy Gilmore and he's saying, go to your happy place. And there's a little guy playing the piano and everything. Man, that would be great. But it doesn't happen, unfortunately. Sorry.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. We have to make it happen. We have to shift it. We have to change the way that we're thinking. We have to do things intentional to make it happen. Now, the cool thing is we've learned a few ways to be able to do this. And we're going to share 3 ways of how you can flip the script. Not flip a B, but flip the script. So we're going to dive into those. But, one thing that we found the best way to do this, to create that fun family environment, that blended family environment that just is beautiful, rewarding, all that, is to do it over having fun together. There is something about having fun and laughing together that creates binding bonds. These are things, if you can remember, I want you to just take a moment and think back to some of your best memories in life. If you think back to some of your best memories in life right now, what would it be? It's probably going to be something that involved having fun, going out on an adventure, going and doing something, laughing with somebody. It's always those fun moments that bond us, that create these things. So when we can start doing that more in our blended family, we're creating these lasting bonds and these lasting memories that we're all looking for, that we're trying, but we got the fire suit on trying to make it happen. Instead, it's time to take it off, flip the script, and be intentional on trying to create some fun environment. I love Plato. He has this quote out that says, you can discover more about a person in an hour of play than in a year of conversation. Such a deep quote. And I know that on many levels, you can look at that in many different aspects and areas, but you can learn so much more by having fun, by playing together. Yes. That's why teams are formed. That's why you see people in the Olympics or any of the sports teams or anything. Those with the strongest teams, those are the ones that go the distance. They're the ones that are in practice. They're having fun. They're enjoying what they're doing. They're coming together. And that's what we want for our family.
Like when we were watching Top Gun.
Top Gun, yes. Man,
and they were struggling to come together because they were all competing against each other. And in this competition, they're trying to one up each other. And so Tom Cruise, Maverick,
okay, aka Maverick, come on.
He has his Yoda experience, which is, you can tell I'm not a huge Top Gun person.
So he's sitting there.
You tell the story. I was just trying to get you started.
Okay, yeah. So he's got to be this instructor. We won't give any spoilers if you haven't seen the movie. If you haven't, you got to watch it, man. So good. I'm a longtime Top Gun fan, so I was drooling at the mouth when the new one came out. But it was such a powerful moment. I even whispered to her in the movie theater whenever this scene happened. I'm like, this is it. This is exactly the message. This is what we're talking about. Yeah. And, there was this moment to where he had to be the instructor now, and he's trying to teach this class of top-notch, best of the best pilots, but they were so arrogant and thought that they were better than everybody else. It sounds like our family, right? I know, my way's better than your way. And
sounds like a biological mom and a household and a stepmom. I'm just talking about me, not you, me.
So it is one of those that they weren't coming together. They were actually fighting over each other, and they weren't able to accomplish the mission. It failed every time because they weren't a team. He had this idea. So one day, his instructor who's watching over the thing comes into an empty classroom, and he's like, where in the world did they go? Well, Maverick took them all to the beach, and they're playing this unique game of football to where you play offense and defense at the same time. Crazy concept, right?
Didn't even catch that.
So it's like a new game, something that's new, and we always say that when you do something new, something different, it creates even more special bonds. We get stuck in these same routines, but when we get outside of our box and we do something different together that's fun, man, I'm telling you, you will be talking about it for years to come. But that's kind of what they did. They were playing this game, and finally, Maverick was playing with them, and finally he sits back, and then his boss comes and he says, "What are y'all doing?" And he said, "You want a team, right?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Look out there." And they were all playing as a team. They were all laughing together. They were all connecting and bonding. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's what we need in our blended families. I feel like I get on a soapbox when I talk about this, because I took everything so serious for so long because we wanted to create this family. But the things that we prioritized were things that were not as fun. They were the work type things. And we put all of that on the top of the list. And fun was a possibility maybe if we had extra time. And that's when Randall says, let's flip the B. Let's flip
the B.
Let's flip the script. We probably should stop saying that because it's probably really inappropriate. But when we flip that and we put that fun on the top, and now we are creating this atmosphere with our kids, and the laughter and the joy is filling our homes. It's filling their hearts. It's filling their mind and their memories. And that's the stuff that's going to bond us. But yet we focus on all of these other things that feel like so much work on a day-to-day basis. Now, stop keeping the three secrets.
I know that these are 3 secrets. We're going to give you 3 secrets on how to make this happen, because you may be hearing this saying, "Hey, Randall, yeah, that sounds great. I hear you. Yeah, that ain't going to happen in my family. So, so sorry. Sounds good in a perfect world." Well, listen, you can do it in an imperfect world, because there is no perfect. So let's give you 3 secrets on how to make this happen.
Hey, B-Fam, we'll be back in just a minute. Check this out.
So, Scarlett, what's your favorite thing about summer?
If I had to pick just one thing, I'd say having fun with my family. I feel like summer is the easiest time to go on new adventures. We laugh more together, create more memories, stuff like that. What about you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Me too. I love the beach, family hangouts, barbecuing outside. I can smell it. Hanging out by the pool. It's crazy because it always seems that everyone gets along so much better when we're doing things we all like doing.
I agree. That's exactly why we created Enjoy the Journey.
For sure. We found out that having fun together as a family gives you that joy-filled home that brings healing and keeps your family healthy, both mentally and physically. Then we lean on what God says in Proverbs 17:22, that a joyful, cheerful heart brings healing to both body and soul. But the one whose heart is crushed struggles with sickness and depression. We found that when our family is having more fun together, all the blended family challenges weren't near as bad. Our family becomes stronger, healthier. So we try to create more of those opportunities, which led us to create Enjoy the Journey. This is a new way that guides your family through finding more things your family enjoys doing together.
It really does. And it's so easy to do. I think the great thing about it is that it helps you find more family things that you like doing, but it also guides you through finding more fun things for your marriage, more fun things for each one of your kids, and it's especially helpful for the step-parent relationships. It really shows you that the more fun you have, the less problems you'll see.
It walks your family through finding more things you like doing in a fun way, and it sets you up to walk away with a great plan that your family will love. So no matter how long you've been a blended family, this meets you where you're at. It really is a fun journey that your family will be so glad you went on. So check it out. The link is in the show notes, and let your family enjoy the journey today. Now back to this episode. It's small steps. Small steps make big differences. So it's doing little small things. So you're going to start small to be able to make these changes. That doesn't mean that you're never going to have problems. You're going to have problems and you're going to have to deal with some of those, but you're continuing to refocus back on how can I create some fun in my home? How can I make this enjoyable for everybody? So 3 ways. Okay, so number 1, here we go. You ready? You ready for this?
Ready.
Number 1, have family hangouts. Boom.
What?
Yeah, have family hangouts. This is such a big one, especially in today's time that we are so isolated. We're more socially connected, but more isolated than ever. We have these cell phones, we have just this amazing thing to where we connect with everybody. But whenever we get together, I've heard so many people say, I've got social disorder. Social anxiety. Well, yeah, because you don't do it. Everybody does. We just have to do it.
That's coming from the introvert.
And the more you do it, the better it gets, right? So the more detached we stay, the further we get from it. And then we get anxious when we get put into that situation. Boom, free nugget there. But, it is having family hangouts. We got to pull our kids out from their room, and we got to create a culture of saying, you know what, we're going to have some family fun nights. We're going to do these. Maybe, we always strive for one a week. If you can do one a week and maybe spend 30 minutes together, something that you're doing fun, maybe it's playing, maybe it's a family game night that you do. Now, I know that's not possible for every blended family because we don't always have our kids. So you have to adjust and be flexible to what that looks like for your family. Maybe you get your kids every other weekend. So that's cool. Maybe every other weekend you have a family game night or you have a family hangout night or something that you're doing to where you're taking 30 minutes to an hour just hanging out, playing a game, laughing. If y'all need a fun game, we've got a free this or that game that we created. Go grab that. We'll put that in the link, but it's free. You download it. And we did this with our older kids. And let me tell you, we had a blast. We were all kind of like, this was towards the end of the night and we were all down. We were all just like, I don't want to get off the couch.
We were so lame. And I was so mad about it.
Yeah. So she kind of got a little upset. It's like, okay, come on, let's do this. By the end of it, we were laughing. We were connecting. We were learning more about each other. It was really powerful. But that's the power of having family hangouts, making that part of your environment, your culture. It's so powerful. Yeah. And so that's number one, have family hangouts, schedule those. You got to have those. Number two is ask, what do they like doing? We talk so much about trying to find common interest. Whenever you connect, if you're trying to connect with, say, your biological kid or your bonus kid, and you're trying to get them to do something that you like and they really could care less, you're not going to connect. It ain't going to happen. If you're trying to connect with them with something that they like, you're going to do a little better with that, but you're still not going to be fully engaged. If you're both connecting on something you both like, boom, there it is. That's gold. But
yeah, and there's probably a lot of those things, like you're saying, that is their interest and that's your interest, that seem like so polar opposites that you're like, we have nothing in common. But really, and like this or that game that we're talking about, it has these questions on there very intentionally so that when you're playing it, you're seeing some things that they have a common interest. And it could be as simple or silly as going for a walk or going to the park or playing some sort of sport that you didn't realize, or something, cooking or baking, things that you don't really think of, like, because maybe they're not a baker, you're not a baker, but yet y'all both have an interest in desserts. So making one together, it's those type things that you start to realize, okay, you might not love video games like your stepchild does, but y'all do both enjoy art or drawing or comics or something like that.
Yeah, so it is finding those, but the way that we find those is we have to ask. And it's age dependent, right? I mean, if you ask, if your child's 6, 7, 8, younger, they're going to be like, oh, like this and that, or they may be like, oh, no. So you have to start looking for those when they're younger, but when they get older, you can ask, and they will open up and you'll learn new things that you didn't even know. I mean, being a biological parent, you're still learning things about your kid. You're like, I didn't know you were into that.
Well, and things change as well.
They do. All seasons have different things. But you're asking about their small things. What are small things that don't cost money, that don't take a lot of time to do? What are some small things that you like? What are big things you like to where, it might take some time to go do or might cost some money to go do? What are you interested in? What are some interests that you have? We were talking to one couple a while back. They started doing something similar to this, and they found out that their kids were interested in starting a garden, and so they all did a garden. And it was like, whoa, we never would have thought. That was so weird.
Their garden is doing phenomenal.
So it's just one of those things to where you don't know if you don't ask. So it's being able to ask.
Yeah, and even if your kids are younger, this is a time that you can help them explore. They may not know their interests, but you can start just bringing in little things here and there, taking them to do little things, see what lights them up. What kind of shows do they love to watch? A lot of times the cartoons and things that they're watching on television have some sort of characters or themes. Maybe it's something train related, and you like trains and you're going to a museum of that sort. So you're taking out these little pieces. Even when they're younger, you start to see some of those things in there.
Yeah, it is. It's really powerful whenever we ask, whenever we start exploring and trying to help them figure that out too. So that is number 2. So number 3, last one, is ask what they like to do as a family. That's such a powerful thing because they have thoughts. They have, what I would really like, if we did this as a family, or, my friends do this and I really love it when they do that. Whenever I go over there, it just is so cool that my friends do this. And you're like, oh, wow, okay, cool. But you're asking them what, as a family, if we were all to do something together, what would it be? And maybe taking that further, even vacations and things like that. Where would y'all want to go on vacation? And start getting, these common interests together. Because I guarantee you, if your kids have no interest in going to Hawaii and you take them to Hawaii, they're not going to have a good time. They're going to be sitting there on their phone.
I actually met some teenagers that were getting drugged to Hawaii. I'm like, are you kidding me? How do you get drugged to Hawaii? It's Hawaii. But they didn't want to go. It was of no interest to them.
So if you go to like a vacation, we use that as an example, a spot that everybody wants to go to, everybody's going to be engaged and more connected. To whereas if you're dragging them someplace, so if you find out your kids don't like Hawaii, then hey, that's a getaway for you and your spouse, and you're going to go and have a blast. So it's asking these things and starting to do more of those, finding those common interests, having more fun together. So those are the 3 ways. But now let's give some pro tips. We got 3 pro tips before we wrap up. Is that cool? Can we do that? Y'all want to hear those?
You want me to say some of them?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, well, first thing, like when you're asking these questions, like take note. You may not be able to like physically take notes, but if you are in a position where they're saying things and you can jot some things down, like how amazing is that to them that you care enough that you're writing stuff down? Like what they're saying is important enough to you that you want to write it down.
You're interested for sure.
And even just if you're having conversation with them and they're bringing stuff up, taking and jotting down those mental notes as well as like, okay, they're interested in this. This is something that I want to try out and see if maybe, they want to go and do this with me.
Yep. And then, these are great things, especially for that step parent, bonus parent, bonus child, stepchild relationship, is starting to notice those interests that y'all have together and then starting to create some opportunities.
Yeah. And then when you're asking them the question, asking them like, hey, what do you like? What do you want to do? What would you like to try? You're asking the questions, let them talk. I know for women, it's sometimes hard for us to have this like silence.
Guys too, for sure.
Well, I guess it's like you want to fill the silence and they're just sitting there thinking. And there's like science that shows that it does take a little bit of time to get your wheels spinning. So let them come up and say those things first. And it may take a little bit of time. You may have to throw out some stuff to guide them and direct them. But let them talk. And even if their stuff sounds ridiculous, even if you've never heard them say that before in their life and you're like, you don't care about that, let them talk and take interest in what they're saying. And that is going to make them feel seen and heard and validated so that when you do approach them with this opportunity, they're going to be more willing to want to go and do it.
It is. It's so powerful because now you're hearing from them. You're telling them their voice matters. You're giving them a chance to speak. And they've got buy-in. So now what you're doing is you're looking at all these common interests that you're having. You're starting to be intentional on making them happen and doing more of those things now that you know. And that's starting to create that family environment that they feel connected to. That's what we want, right? We want our kids to feel connected to our home and connected to us and not have that wedge to where they feel like they just don't belong. We want them to know they belong, but we connect over having fun. So that's pro tip number 3 is make it fun. You want to make it fun, whatever you're doing, make it fun, but also respectful. Whenever you start asking, especially if you're asking them together and things like that, like what do you like doing? And you'll have old Timmy over there go, well, I like doing this. And then you got old Roger over there going, well, that's stupid. You're dumb. That's life, right? That's family. You want to be like, no, I love that from Timmy. I didn't know that about Timmy. I just love saying that name, Timmy. But, I love
Timmy's
that about
so sweet.
Timmy. And, none of us are dumb. None of us are stupid, but we don't get angry and we don't beat you should never say it's stupid or be.
Get up to your room right now, Roger.
That's
me.
not fun, right? So we want to be able to acknowledge what happened, but flip it around and and show respect. We're modeling respect and what that looks like. And our kids are watching and listening and they're like, oh, well, okay. Well, maybe I won't say that, So, keep that a fun environment. Man, just those little things are so powerful. But it really did. We were at a point in our family, we were at one of the lowest points. Whenever our kids were leaving and going to where the grass is greener on the other side, we were devastated. Our relationships were devastated. This is what turned the table. This is what started bringing them back. This is what started breaking walls down that were solid. I mean, they started coming down by us being intentional and taking these little steps. It wasn't big. It was like, hey, let's go get an ice cream together. Does that sound cool? I like ice cream. Let's go get some ice cream. So it's one of those. And I know for y'all, you had a moment like that to where that just broke down some crazy walls to where it opened up some major talks immediately. But it was all over doing something
to
fun.
100, like drastic change in that moment.
And it's amazing.
Sorry to cut you, but it's not like you're like, okay, family, we're going to sit down and have a family meeting and we're going to create this culture that's amazing. That is what's happening naturally when you're doing these things, but it's coming up and making these hangouts, like Randall's saying. If you can do it as a whole family, you're coming together and you're making this fun night of a game night or a movie night or around your favorite food or dessert sort of thing, and then you're bringing this out. You're asking these questions in the process of it. It's not like you're labeling at a family meeting where we're going to have this.
Everyone sit down.
Sit down and tell us what you like and we're taking notes. Like, no, you're creating this environment this evening with them or a daytime, whatever that looks like for your family. Sometimes it might be you and a one-on-one with one kid. You might have to do it in 2 separate weekends because you don't have your kids all at the same time. It might be over a Zoom call. Whatever it is that you can do to create this laughter and fun together, and then you're like slipping in these questions and asking these things as well.
It's so good, and I'm telling you, it's life-changing. It's blended family environment changing. It will start turning you from putting that fire suit down to where now you're picking up a suit that's good, that's true, that's honorable, that's, everything that we want. We start seeing more of that because we're being intentional. We're starting to create these. It doesn't just happen. We have to start small. And, whenever we continue doing that, you'll get some resistance. But the more and more you do it, the more and more everyone sees, hey, they're being for real about this. And the more and more they want to buy in, because who doesn't want to buy into fun? Who doesn't want to buy into laughing? We all do, right? So it's being able to start really turning the tables and seeing things a little differently, being intentional and creating these moments. I'm telling you, it's life-changing. But if you need help in this area, that's what we created E.N.J.O.Y, the journey for. So I'm sure you've heard about that. If not, it's there. But it is so powerful because it walks you through these things. We really break that down and what that can look like. And, it really is that blended family roadmap to having fun together. It just helps you to create this environment. We'll walk hand in hand with you on that. So if that's you and you want that, it's there for you. Check that out. But it is. You've got to be intentional. Create more fun in your family. You'll see more change. You'll see more change in yourself and your kids and your home, your marriage. It really is like this whole thing just starts snowballing, and it's amazing. So, and who would have ever thought having fun would be the solution?
It's the solution. It's the answer. It's
crazy.
Easy. It's lighter. Like when you're talking about the fire suit and how heavy and, just hot it can feel.
Drags you down.
And really when we take that off and just visualize yourself putting on that gorgeous swimsuit or swim trunks or a Speedo, whatever.
Oh, Speedos.
And just how fun, that represents and the lightness of it and just that environment that comes when you have on the swim gear and going out and having a good time. Yeah. It is so much more freeing than the work that it takes when you're trying to put out all the fires.
Yeah. So try it. I'm telling you. We challenge you. Try it. try it and see what happens, because we know it works.
Try it like
it's so
Sam,
amazing. It's so amazing. Yeah, do it. That really is that's just enjoying your blended family. That's where that was birthed, was having more fun together and not missing those opportunities, but taking advantage of the opportunities that we have. So it really is. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Your family's beautiful. And I'm telling you, it just takes those little shifts, little steps, and it makes a big difference. So good stuff, man.
Yes.
I just feel good. That's like, I want to go have some fun right now.
I want to go get in the pool.
Yeah, I'm going to go put on my Speedo and we're going to go get in the pool now. So listen, we love you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye. Thanks for joining us today. We hope this episode has been a blessing and encouraged your family journey.
Make sure you stay connected with us and join our weekly Blended Family newsletter. We send an email out every Friday morning full of support and encouragement.
When you join, we also want to give you a free gift, so go get yours today. The link is in the show notes below.
Have an amazing day, and remember to enjoy the journey with your blended family, and we'll see you on the next episode.